just south of Murfreesboro, so I can dial in the duck pretty well. For 15 years, a little over, I've been a real estate agent. For 10 of those years, I've been a real estate trainer. So I love public speaking, and I appreciate the opportunity to be here today. Today, what we're talking about is mental flexibility. This is just a small portion of about an hour and a half, 2-hour seminar I'll be doing at the Linebaugh Library, August 23rd. It's written on the bottom of your green sheet, from 6 until about 8 p.m. And we're going to talk about how to better communicate with others, starting internally, with our own thoughts. How do we formulate thoughts and then convey those to others? So today, it's just a small snippet of that. We're going to be talking about some common barriers to communication. We're going to cover 4 of them. One is jargon. We need to eliminate industry vernacular when we're talking to someone who is not in that industry. So many times I've seen salespeople use PDQ, ADH, QXM, the 2300 model. Nobody knows what they're talking about until we explain it to them on terms that they understand. Even as a real estate agent, I have to stop myself from saying the MLS until they've been around me for a couple of days. We make an assumption that everyone understands what a MLS or multi-listing service is. Now that I've explained what those initials mean, maybe not everyone fully understands what the multiple listing service is. It's the listing service that real estate agents, particularly realtors, use to help find, locate homes, put sellers and buyers together. But often we get used to speaking rapidly, and we want to convey our thoughts as far as what we know. And we know a lot, that we forget to slow down and first give our potential clients or potential business partners or even people who are new to our firm a foundation on the words that we're going to use. So try to eliminate that jargon when you're speaking to someone who's not technically within the same communication as you. Another big barrier is semantics, how we use individual words. If I say the term potato chips, you all think of what?
Nice.
The little fried cuts piece of potatoes that we get in a bag. Now, if I were to use the term potato chips in England, they would think French fries, because that's what they use. The term we use to describe potato chips, they use to describe French fries. So what do they call potato chips in England? Potato crisps. But many times we stop to think, are the words that I'm using, even though I understand them, is that falling on someone else's brain in such a way that they understand exactly what I'm speaking of? Another barrier to communication is body language. So, body language. A big one is cross the arms. Now, who can tell me what this traditionally means?
Aggravated.
A little standoffish, aggravated, kind of closed off. And so we close. So we watch for these types of cues, and we need to, but we have to look at them in the proper context. Because maybe I'm just cold. Maybe I've been standing with my arms to the side for the past half hour, and I need to help my blood circulate. So this is actually a resting, comfortable position. So we need to understand the words that they are saying and couple that with the body language that we see. A friend of mine, actually the cousin of my wife, was a famous detective from Mobile, Alabama. And I will pick his brain on interrogation techniques. What did you learn from someone's body language? And he said many times if someone would sort of sit at a table, but they would face the door, that meant that they wanted to leave. Or maybe they would sit sideways to a table and point their knees that way. They were uncomfortable. They didn't like being there in the interrogation room. And I assured him, if I were completely innocent, I would not be comfortable in an interrogation room. I would want to leave. But in proper context, you put all these things together. How is the thought that I'm trying to convey landing on the minds of the person to whom I'm speaking? And it really is thought transfer. I have an idea. How do I get my idea out of my head and into yours? Another way is through perceptual barriers. What kind of filters do we use in our lives? There's a book called The 5 Languages of Love by Gary Chapman. And in the book, he talks about how people express love differently. My wife first told me about this book. I'm the type of person that if I love somebody, I'm going to express it. I love you. And what do I want to hear? I love you back. Now, the youngest daughter over here seems to be the exception to that rule. She kind of takes the attitude of, well, if you love me, prove it. So when she's sick, I take care of her. I feed her chicken noodle soup. Just getting embarrassed. I feed her chicken noodle soup. I fluff her pillow. I make sure she's got a comfortable TV program to watch that she enjoys. Those sorts of things. And that's how she receives and expresses love. Many times we take in through filters, and unbeknown to us, we also send out through our filters. Some people are very fast-acting in their decisions, almost at what some of us would call a knee-jerk reaction. For others, is simply they like to make a decision quick. If they come across something they see as a good opportunity, they're going to move on. Others want to take a little bit of time. If we're in a sales situation, often we will hear, I want to think about it. What's the first thing that we think of when we hear a prospect say, I want to think about it?
It's a nice way to say no.
It's a nice way to say no. And many times it is a polite way to say no. But we have to remind ourselves, sometimes they really just want to think about it. And they may very well call you the next day and say, you know what, I feel good about it, I want to move forward. So we have to look at everything within the proper context. Something that we'll also get into in my 2-hour seminar is we'll get into a little bit of NLP. There's one of those initials again. Okay, NLP stands for Neuro-Linguistics Programming. Now you know what I'm talking about. Okay, maybe you don't. So I will explain. Without getting too much into the weeds, it's simply we use these filters and we take in information from our environment through the 5 senses. Generally, we will lead with one more than the others. So, do we describe our world through visual means, auditory, through a sense of touch, which also includes emotional, which we call kinesthetic. Even some people lead with gustatory and olfactory. So as we interpret our environment and things that happen to us in the world, we may see things through more of a visual context than others. It's estimated about 70% of men are visual. About 50% of women are thought to be kinesthetic. And you also have a varying degree. The third most popular is auditory. My mother is very auditory. She loves music. We all love music. But music is just such a big part of her life. And she loves to sing. And it seems like she's always wanting to hear something. And when I converse with her, if there's something that she likes, she'll say, well, that sounds pretty good. Mom, do you remember way back when? That seems to ring a bell. So she uses these auditory terms to describe her life and her environment. I'm very visual. If I see something that I like, notice I didn't say experience something that I like. If I see something that I like, I may very well say, well, that looks good. How are you doing today? It's a sunshiny day. Whatever terms, oh, things are rosy.
Things are looking up.
Things are looking up. Exactly. So these types of cues. And if we can learn the filters that our people who are listening to us are using, we can better impart our thoughts to them. So we're going to do a simple little 1-minute exercise. And we're going to turn it around a little bit. So what I'd like for you to do, yay, we have 2 and 2 and 2 and 2. What I'd like for you to do is just for about 1 minute, I'd like either one of you to do the speaking role. Very simple. Just describe your experience coming here to the restaurant. You can start at home, but more simplistically, as you pull into the driveway, as you depart your car, as you enter the restaurant, as you come in here. And be descriptive. Use those adjectives to modify the nouns that you use. Be descriptive. What was it like? What was the experience like for you? And the other is going to write down some cues, things, descriptors that you use, and try to interpolate how you express your environment. All right, we'll just take about 1 minute, real simple. Okay, so just pair up. One of you is the talker for 1 minute, and the other one is the receiver, and you're listening.
It doesn't Okay, that's about a minute, so we'll go ahead and wrap that up. And hopefully you took some notes. If you were the listener, we wrote down 3 or 4 different ideas, adjectives that they use to describe it.
I wasn't sure.
It's a good exercise.
I really thought.
Okay, let's see where we are right now. Okay, get back into it. So we'll start with these 2 ladies in the very back here. Who was the speaker and who was the receiver?
I was the speaker.
You were the speaker. So, ma'am, what's your name? Because I don't want to call you Duck Lady.
Mo.
All right. Now, this is only a 1-minute conversation.
Sure.
But were you able to pick up on any descriptors at all that sort of describe the lady who was talking?
She was looking forward to coming to the meeting today because she first prepared for it. So she got up, came here, and she felt like she was driving a long ways.
Okay.
That was one of the things that she said, and so that says, you know, when you're going someplace for the first time, your eyes unsure. I was feeling the same way, so yeah. I can relate to that. She liked the surroundings. The restaurant was nice. The people were friendly. She used the word super friendly, and so you know she has a positive outlook.
So from that, you interpolate that she leads with one particular sense over another, whether she's visual, auditory, kinesthetic, gustatory, olfactory, or how does she, what are the filters that she uses to describe her environment? And it's just a 1 minute conversation, I know.
I say for this, it was probably visual and auditorial, yeah.
Okay, is a balance between the two?
I think so.
I'm sorry, what, ma'am?
I am very visual.
Okay, very good, very good. And here,
I was the speaker in this.
okay. Mr. Jim, were you able to infer anything in terms of how he leads, describing his environment?
Well, what does, you know what kinesthetic mean?
Feeling, it can be touch and emotion.
Right there.
Kinesthetic?
Yeah.
Okay, would you agree with that?
Oh, 100%, yeah.
Okay. Okay, very good. And here? Okay, so you're the speaker, so were you able to pick up any cues of what sense he leads with?
I would say visual and was that
Kinesthetic?
Yeah.
Okay, feeling, okay, you seem to agree with that? And over here?
I feel like that she is visual in the feeling.
Okay. Does one lead more than the other, more visual? And it's just a 1 minute conversation, I understand.
I think it's her feeling.
Yeah.
Kinesthetic? Okay, okay. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to turn the tables, another 1 minute conversation, and here's what you're going to do. If you were the listener in the last exercise, now you're going to be speaking, but you're going to use some of the same words, the same filter that person used, and all 4 groups are going to describe the exact same object. My cell phone. You can describe, you can add whatever details you want, you can make it up, you can, I'm not going to give you any cues, but this is what we're going to describe. And so, you just kind of take about a minute and use some of those same words, that same filter.
Same words that he used, same filter.
Some of the same words or types of words.
Okay.
Types of words.
Got it.
All right. So my cell phone, and you can color this. See, I just said you can color this. You can color this any way you want. Add whatever details you want. The cell phone. Go ahead. 1 minute.
I love my cell
Well, it says.
Am I supposed to do talking? Am I supposed to do visually? So I'm supposed to describe myself, how I feel about myself. Or self myself.
Just describe it. What is it? If they've never seen a cell phone before, how would you describe it?
Okay, this cell phone do so many things. I think it's already getting it can help to use, right? To get food out on your feet. It can help you make your display. You don't have to talk to your favorite people or
I'm more like the down.
not talk to your favorite people. You can pay your bills with it. You can do, you can say everything that your heart desires to
We'll wrap this up in just a few seconds. Okay. So at that point, now the tables were turned. The speaker from before was the listener now. So I'm going to ask the listener, were they able to describe, if you had never encountered a cell phone before, were they able to sort of describe it in terms that you would understand, using some of the words and your filter? Yes, no?
My speaker went in an entirely different direction with it, but with that said, he communicated directly to a sense of feeling. It was really impressive. I didn't see that coming.
Oh, good. And if we're in sales or we're in business, dealing with our business partners, we have to do that. Over here.
Issues with a lot of feeling in it too.
Okay. Okay. Back here.
I think the same, a lot of feelings. She described everything that her cell phone could do for her.
Okay.
But at the bottom line, what I got is she loves her cell phone.
And I think we talked about.
Yeah, I saw that.
About how you were, I believe, kinesthetic, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so what were some of the words that she used kinesthetically to describe a block of plastic and silicon?
Well, she said that, the cell phone helps her, with who, what she wants to do, who she wants to talk to and who she doesn't want to talk to.
Okay,
Communicating those feelings without actually
Right.
expressly touching the word.
Exactly.
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
okay, all right. So being kinesthetic wouldn't necessarily talk about the ear and how the sound quality or the color, but what you can do with it and how you can engage with other people. Okay, and here.
Yeah, basically very much feeling and talking about how it's a part of her life and, you know, just in general, like we all feel. We're talking about apps and talking about, you know, I go everywhere with it, I use it for everything, you know, and we're connected at the hip these days.
Okay, so again, kinesthetic.
Yeah.
I buy one as long as it's functional and it works. I gotta get a purple cover for it because purple is just my favorite color. So, something to think about. August 23rd, it's a free seminar at the Linebaugh Library. We're going to cover these sorts of things, and it's going to be a little broader. About an hour and a half to 2 hours, 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock. You have my website written there. I'll post some updates here starting just within the next week or two. Thank you very much. Lori.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.